My name is Elise Carter, and until that Saturday afternoon, I still held out a tiny, aching hope that maybe, just maybe, my parents would finally see me as enough. I'd come back to our hometown for my nephew Kyle's 8th birthday, dragging my 9-year-old son Jacob along with me. We were both exhausted. The 6-hour drive, the cold shoulder from my mother on the phone, and the subtle snide comments from my sister Mandy had already set the tone. But Jacob still believed he had a family that cared. That belief was the only reason I agreed to come. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video? We arrived at my parents' house to a crowd of relatives buzzing in the backyard. Balloons, folding tables, music, cake. It looked like a real celebration. Jacob's eyes lit up. He grabbed my hand and whispered, "Do you think Grandma will let me help with the cake?" I nodded. "Just be kind, sweetheart." He ran off to say hello while I followed, carrying a small gift for Kyle, a model airplane he'd wanted for weeks. "Wow, Elise, you do remember we exist," Mandy said, sipping wine like she lived in a sitcom. "Did you bring the napkins, or are you still allergic to responsibility?" "Nice to see you too," I said flatly. My mother, Barbara, swooped in behind her. "Jacob, can you help Aunt Mandy carry plates? The kids need to eat and we don't want to keep them waiting." I froze. "Mom, he just got here." She waved her hand like I was wind. "It's good for him. Builds humility. You don't want him to grow up entitled, right?" Mandy smirked. "Besides, Kyle wants everything to feel like a restaurant." "But he's not a waiter," I said firmly. My father, Ron, appeared from the grill, apron stained with barbecue sauce. "Elise, can you stop making everything about you? Let the kid help. You should be glad he's finally contributing." Contributing? My 9-year-old son, with wide brown eyes and scraped knees from the playground, was about to be used as the help at a birthday party he was invited to as family. I looked around. My niece Emma was coloring under the table. The other cousins were lounging in chairs with popsicles, watching cartoons on the outdoor TV. But Jacob? They handed him a tray with ketchup bottles, paper napkins, and a pitcher of lemonade. I knelt beside him. "You don't have to do this." But he smiled, trying so hard to be brave. "It's okay, Mom. Maybe they'll like me better." He walked over to the first table. My stomach twisted. Then it happened. The tray wobbled in his small hands as he turned toward a group of cousins who'd already eaten half their hot dogs. His foot caught on a garden hose that wasn't rolled up properly. He fell forward. Everything, lemonade, mustard, paper plates, crashed to the ground. He landed on his knees. Laughter erupted. Mandy nearly choked on her wine. "Oh my God, did the little waiter just drop Table 5's order?" Barbara clapped her hands like she was watching Comedy Hour. "It's just a spill. Don't baby him, Elise. He's not made of glass." "Ron," he called out, "better luck on your next shift, champ." Jacob didn't cry. He didn't say a word. He just started scooping the paper plates off the grass like it was his fault for existing. I reached him in 3 steps, pulled him up, brushed the dirt off his shirt, and whispered, "We're done here." "No, Mom, I want to." "You don't have to prove anything to anyone here." I stood up and stared straight at my parents. "You made my son your servant, and when he fell, you laughed." "Stop being dramatic," Mandy barked. "It was just a joke." "You all call everything a joke when it's cruel." My mom crossed her arms. "Don't start another scene, Elise. You're always like this, sensitive, defensive. No wonder you never fit in." That word, fit. That's all they ever wanted me to do, fit into the mold they made for Mandy, quiet, obedient, grateful for breadcrumbs. But I wasn't going to teach my son to shrink for them like I did. We walked to the car, Jacob's hand tightly gripping mine. As I buckled him in, I kissed his forehead and said, "You deserve the kind of family that claps when you stand, not when you fall." I didn't cry on the drive home. I didn't scream. But I did start planning. Not revenge, something better. A full-circle reckoning, one that would arrive quietly, and leave them begging for a plate. It had been 5 months since that birthday party, 5 months since I watched my parents and my sister reduce my son to a joke, a punchline in their cruel little sitcom. Jacob had asked a few times if they ever called to say sorry. I told him the truth. No, not even once. But I wasn't waiting for their apology. I was building something. They thought I was still that struggling, desperate version of Elise who clung to their acceptance like it was oxygen. What they never paid attention to was what I did for a living. I'd spent the last 7 years working quietly as a logistics consultant for private schools across the state, designing cafeteria systems, streamlining food distribution, optimizing kitchen workflows. Mundane, yes, but I had a talent for it, a talent that had recently paid off. A month after the birthday party, I signed a contract with a major charter school network that spanned 3 states. The contract was worth 6 figures, and not just once. It was annual, renewable. I also secured an investment grant to launch a meal equity program. I had designed a nonprofit model that ensured no child ever got humiliated over lunch again. I named it Jacob's Table. The first community kitchen launched in a former church building in our hometown, a warm, clean space with communal seating and gourmet meals served with dignity, no payment required, just volunteer hours or kindness given forward. I ran it quietly under my LLC, no press, no banners. I wanted to show Jacob how you respond to cruelty, not by matching it, but by building a world where it doesn't win. Then came Thanksgiving. I received a group text from Mandy. Mandy, 11:02 a.m. Don't forget, dinner starts at 3 sharp. Bring something this time. Kyle wants brownies. Also, Jacob can help Grandma prep the desserts. I stared at it for a long time. Then another text pinged. Barbara, Mom, 11:07 a.m. We're doing real silverware this year. Don't let Jacob drop anything. LOL. Jacob peeked over my shoulder. Do we have to go? I shook my head. Not this year. This year we're hosting dinner, and it'll be the kind where everyone has a seat. That afternoon, I sent a message back. Me, 1:32 p.m. Jacob and I won't be attending. You'll understand why soon. That was the last thing I said before flipping the next card in motion. I'd learned through a mutual friend that my parents had fallen behind on their property taxes. Mandy had taken out loans under my mom's name for a failed candle subscription business, and Ron's pension had dried up faster than his temper. Their kitchen had a cracked stove, and their fridge had broken last year, I remembered, because Mandy asked me to Venmo something toward a new one, and I ignored her. So I reached out to the city. I offered to purchase the tax lien on the property for the amount owed and donated a small additional grant from Jacob's Table to rebuild struggling community spaces into food security centers. I didn't use their name. I didn't have to. Once the city accepted my offer and the lien was transferred, the paperwork did the rest. Quiet, legal, absolute. And then came Christmas Eve. The whole town was buzzing because of a rumor that one of the old homes was being converted into the second community meal house. A few churches posted about it. The address? My parents' house. The irony? They were the last to know. They found out when the doorbell rang on Christmas morning and a representative from the city arrived with a notice. Jacob and I weren't there. We were busy hosting a warm open breakfast at the first Jacob's Table, where 15 families had already sat down with volunteers and chefs. One of the volunteers whispered, "We heard the second house is opening soon." I just smiled. 3 days later, my phone rang. Mandy. I let it ring. Then Mom called. Then Dad. I answered on the 4th ring. "Elise." My mother's voice was panicked. "Someone's claiming your charity is taking over our house. Is this some mistake?" "No," I said calmly. "It's not a mistake. You don't own the house anymore." "What are you talking about? This is our home." "Was. You stopped paying your dues. I paid them. Now it's community property. A lot of hungry people will eat there soon." "You spiteful little—" Dad's voice cut in. "You think this makes you noble? You're just bitter." I paused. "No," I said. "I'm just full." "Full?" "Full of everything you never were. Grace, mercy, backbone." Click. They came to my office 2 days later, uninvited, rattled. Mandy came too, holding some old casserole dish like it could buy her a pardon. "Please," my mother said through clenched teeth. "We don't have anywhere to go. We're family." "You laughed when my son fell," I said, staring straight at her. Now you're the ones on the floor." My dad grunted. "So what? You want us to beg?" I didn't answer. Instead, I pointed to the open kitchen window where a group of children sat at a long table laughing together as they were served stew, pie, and warm rolls. Jacob passed plates from one side to the other, smiling, standing tall, never bending. A volunteer next to him said, "Thank you, sir." He'd never been called sir before. My father stared. My mother started crying. I finally whispered, "There's only one rule here." "What?" Mandy asked. "If you want a plate, you serve with humility." She looked confused. "Start by cleaning the dishes." Mandy didn't move at first. She looked at me like I had slapped her not with my hand, but with the truth. My mom shifted uncomfortably, muttering that she had a bad back, and my dad looked like he was about to explode. But he didn't, because in that moment he finally realized the thing they'd all ignored for years. They weren't the ones in control anymore. I was. Mandy was the first to break. She stepped into the kitchen, shoulders stiff, and walked to the sink where a volunteer handed her a towel and a stack of used pie plates. Her manicured hands hesitated. She wiped the first one with such awkward stiffness that it squeaked under the pressure. But the volunteer smiled at her and said kindly, "We all start somewhere." She didn't reply. She just kept scrubbing. My mom followed next. Not willingly, she shuffled in, dragging her purse along like it might buy her dignity back. She wiped down counters, her lips trembling. Every so often she glanced toward the window where Jacob was outside helping an elderly man to his seat. He looked happy, steady, untouched by their poison. My father didn't follow. He just stood there, staring at me. "You really did all this?" he asked, voice gruff. "Yes." He shook his head, almost in disbelief. I thought we raised you tougher than this, not petty." I took a step closer, calm but unwavering. "Tough? You raised me desperate, afraid to disappoint, but not anymore. You don't get to shame my son and expect him to forget it." He exhaled hard through his nose. "He's just a boy," he muttered. "That's exactly why what you did was unforgivable." Outside, the wind picked up, brushing dried leaves across the sidewalk. Inside, it was quiet until a woman walked in holding a baby on her hip. She looked exhausted, cheeks red from the cold. "Is this Jacob's table?" she asked, scanning the room. "Yes," I said, walking over. "I don't have anything to give. I lost my job and my daughter hasn't eaten since yesterday." I nodded. "Come in. There's a plate waiting." She sat down near the back table. The baby reached for a biscuit and the woman's eyes welled up. My mother saw, and for the first time in years, I think she actually felt something. She turned to me, voice brittle. "You didn't just do this to hurt us, did you?" "No," I said softly. "I did it so Jacob would grow up in a world where kindness had a backbone." My dad stayed silent. He didn't serve, he didn't clean. But when he left, I saw his eyes flick toward Jacob, who was now sitting next to a young boy who reminded me of him at that age, teaching him how to fold napkins into little boats. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just revenge, it was a reckoning. 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail, handwritten, shaky penmanship, no return address. Inside was a note. "I don't expect forgiveness, but I saw what you built. I saw what we destroyed. I was wrong. Dad." Folded inside the envelope was something else, a photo. A snapshot from decades ago, taken in the old kitchen I grew up in. I was maybe 7, standing next to my father at the stove, holding a wooden spoon too big for my hand. I hadn't remembered the photo being taken. On the back, scribbled in pencil, "We should have served you a better life. Thank you for doing it for others." I didn't cry. Not out of coldness, but peace. Because I knew now, no apology could undo the damage, but my son would never feel the ache I did, and every child who sat at Jacob's table would be served with dignity, no matter where they came from. As for my parents, they asked for a plate, and I made them earn it with silence, humility, and the slow ache of realizing that the daughter they discarded had built a table without them. And this time, they were the ones waiting to be served. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching